Hello and welcome. We're at the annual meetings of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund in Washington. My name is Brian Kaplan. I'm editor of The Banker, and I'm here with the Finance Minister of Honduras, Mr. William Chong. Welcome to you. And Minister, Honduras is a country that's had a bit of political volatility over the last year or so. And can you give us a bit of an update on the political situation and whether you're now can claim to be stable in that respect?
Thank you, Brian. First of all, our country went into election last year in November, and the new government took power at the end of January. And so far, the political situation has been stabilized, even though we are going through for a consultation, a big dialogue between the different groups and different parties to get a consent. And also the government is an integrated government, which each party that participates in the election, even with different ideology, is participating as part of the cabinet. And also they are part of the Congress, even though we have the majority in Congress, but everything has to go through consultation with the other parties that is part of the Congress.
So you're trying to build a consensus in a way?
In a way, also, and also with an integrated cabinet and also an integrated Congress. So we don't just take the vast majority that we have. We talk with the other party, with the small party and with the opponent, the largest opponent too, we are talking. And we get consensus before everything passed through Congress.
Okay, and obviously you did suffer somewhat from international isolation. Would you say now that you're on the way to a certain amount of rehabilitation with various international institutions, and is part of your presence here in Washington at the IMF meetings part of that rehabilitation process?
That's right, and we have a good news last week on October the 1st. And a standby agreement have been approved by the board of directors of IMF, and also so this opened up for us to get loans, concessional loans from IDB, World Bank, and also some other multilateral agencies, and also as the European Union and some other multilateral organization that we are part of.
So what have been the main things that you've been discussing with the delegates at the IMF, and who have you been talking with?
Okay, the IMF, we talked with Mr. Izaguirre, and which is the manager of the Western Hemisphere, and we talk about the standby agreement with that we just has been approved, the way of trying to recover our economy, because our economy last year it declined 2%, and this year we expect a growth of 2.5 to 2.6%. And also inflation has been under control. It's under 6% right now. It's about right up to today is about 4.8. So we probably will end up with 5.3 or 5.2, something like that. But it's under control, and also the flow of cash is coming in at the end of this year. It already started from October on, after the standby agreement have been approved. And also our country have a better outlook because we just approved a public-private participation law, which allows some other company, the private sector, to invest in our country.
Okay, that's very interesting. Tell us a bit more about that. I mean, would you expect to see a big increase in foreign direct investment as a result of that new law?
Yeah. First of all, and we have a strong foreign participation already in the telecommunication, and one of the areas that we are going to have the PPP is going to be telephone company, the power company, and some roads, and also especially the railway transportation is one of the other area. So we are open up for business, and the government is going to spend a growth for next year to 3.5%. The government will have a big role on this because of the infrastructure program that we are carrying out and the investment in hydropower company.
All right, and what about banking? Would you welcome foreign banks to come and invest in Honduras and maybe even take over local institutions?
Okay, right now we have the three largest foreign bank in Honduras, which is already operating in Honduras, and we have a strong national domestic bank. So where every investment, every banker welcome to invest in Honduras. That is matter of the private sector, because the private sector is the one who's moving part of the moving the economy, and also the bankers from the private sector is deciding if they go internationally or they will be acquired by somebody. But offer have been proposed to the different banks in Honduras.
Okay, and what about tourism? You do have some very scenic spots, don't you, with the Bay Islands?
Well, the Bay Island is strong because right now we have the cruise ship going every week to Roatán with 4,000 people every week. And also they have their terminal. One of them have a terminal in Honduras. And also we have the direct flight from Europe for two places right now, from Europe and from Canada and the United States. So the Bay Island is an area which is outside the mainland and have their own natural beauty. They have this natural the coral reef, and also some other, not only in the Bay Island but also the Copan ruins is the other area that is tourism is start again, and also the north coast too, because we have a large coastline in the Atlantic with beautiful beaches.
Now, you said that the economy is growing at 2%. I think you said inflation was roughly 5%. Can you give us a bit more of an idea about the various targets that you have for the economy in terms of the budget and the sort of debt to GDP ratios?
Okay. Our deficit was last year, because of the political turmoil, was around 6.2, and this year we will close around 4.7, and for next year we are reducing to almost 3.2. I mean, so that is part of the agreement with the bank. This was we inherit, the new government inherit the floating debts, and also domestic debt was in an order of let me translate it. It's about the public floating debt is around $600 million.
Yeah.
So and also the domestic debt increased 3 times what it was before.
Right. So will you need to restructure that, or?
We are already restructuring. We're talking with the World Bank is just have a team down in Honduras looking at the internal debt, at the domestic debt, what we should do, what they give us some advice, but it's going to be another area that we're looking into it, and there are probably the banking business could be one of the one to be advisory in us how to lead this restructuring our own debt, domestic debt, because we don't have problem with the foreign with the external debt, only the domestic.
Okay. Have you any ideas about how you might restructure? Is predominantly short term, that domestic?
The domestic is a short term 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
But
actually, that's the easy part to solve, isn't it?
Yeah, it's easy, but because I can solve it with a rollover. But that is not the case.
Money, yeah.
Not printing money. Just instead of the one who's due, instead of paying it, to issue the same amount.
Yes.
It's not. That is mean what I mean with rollover. Yeah. It's not mean that we want to issue more. Yeah. So we try to reduce it because we have to control our expenditure, especially current expenditure. Even so, we have poverty, one of the main key issues by President Lobo, who tried to reduce the index for poor people.
Yeah. And what does it stand at the moment?
Oh, right now it's about 60% of the population is poor, And also part of that is we have now what is conditional cash transferring, and we are I was quite happy yesterday hearing the IMF conference, World Bank conference about for hippie country, how to help them out with the IRA funds.
Right. Okay. And I mean, if you are successful in getting growth back to Honduras, how will you manage to redistribute the proceeds of that growth to some of the poorer sections of the society?
We asking everybody, even the private sector, is have a large program with the social aspect, about the social responsibility, and so quite a few of the private sector is within their growing without their development plan, and the strategy is to conduct more social responsibility work.
All right. Now, obviously, one of the features of Central American economies is they do tend to be very dependent on the United States.
Right.
So how much is your economic recovery dependent on there being an equivalent recovery and growth in the United States?
Let me tell you, we lost because of the economic crisis and the economic slowdown in the U.S. We lost about 70,000 jobs. And right now we have recovered 25,000 jobs. So this is going to be growth in a steady way, not rapidly, not quickly, but we hope by next year or 2 years we will recover all this job that has lost in the past.
Are you very much dependent on remittances from the United States?
Part of it, yes, but also we are depending a lot of export. We are we're exporting non-traditional goods now, as something in the seafood industry, like tilapia, shrimp, and all that we're exporting, and also some vegetables and some other, and coffee. And also now we have the transformation of that, not only send it as the way it is, but with some process would give job to the people. And I would like to mention here one of the MCA alternative was a good one for Honduras, because with their program there was 6,500 family who left poverty, and that if we multiply that for the member of the family, they was to put it in another way, when they have an income under $1 per day, they increase that to $4 or to $5 a day, and they improve the living condition and also with education.
So, I mean, obviously you're trying to develop exports because it's a more stable form of earnings than remittances. Have you actually seen a decline in the remittances during the crisis?
It was, yes, but started going up again, especially because our remittances come from the U.S., from Europe too, because we have large population too in Europe, especially Spain, Italy, and some other countries. Even though their economy has slowed down, but they are recovering right now, and we tried. The remittance has been increased. Is more than what we expected at the beginning.
Right now, obviously, with a small country in Central America like Honduras, in order to get your voice heard, you'd probably be better working with your neighbours in terms of presenting common policies. Is that a process that's happening satisfactorily, do you think?
It's happening satisfactorily, even so we have some difference between the countries, but at the end, the SICA, which is the Central American, Panama, and Dominican Republic, have this agreement, have this association, the Central American plus those two countries and Belize. We're working together in strength. One of the examples is the negotiation with the European Union or the free trade that just finished months ago, and that is one of the examples, and also some other, and also the CAFTA too is also one of the other, the free trade agreement with Central America, with the U.S., with Canada, and some other countries. And also one of the good things that we have in Honduras, like Puerto Cortes, which is in the Atlantic Ocean, is certified as a safe port and safe, and we have a U.S. custom office established there, so the goods, when they leave Honduras, it's already been cleared out when they come to the U.S. into the United States.
Right, so that facilitates trade, obviously.
Facilitate trade, and also we expand in our the port. We are getting a blending loan, which is a mix of commercial rate and concessional rates for about $245 million of expansion.
Okay, now over the last 2 or 3 years with the financial crisis, we've seen a lot of decision-making in the international economy taken by the G20 powers. And we were talking yesterday to the finance minister and central bank governor of Barbados, and they were saying that they felt that this was regrettable in a way because it's not as multilateral like the IMF is, and that they felt that they were going to be left out of the process. Is that a feeling that you have as well in Honduras?
No, because I think one of the things we have to thanks to G20, first of all, is the forgiveness of our debts, external debts, that would, instead of paying to the multilateral, to the country, that money is invested in the for a strategy to reduce poverty.
Right. Thank you very much, Minister. Well, as you can see there, Honduras seems to be getting back on its feet economically. And very interesting that they've passed the public-private partnership law, which is going to facilitate foreign investment, and that there's also a plan there to try and improve the poverty situation in Honduras. So we'll look forward to seeing what happens.